Hi, my name is Elisa, and I like to talk about how we can be healthier and grow food that's healthier and all things environmental that have to do with living a better life. So, today I want to talk about the presidential order for the regenerative agriculture and advancing regenerative ag and strengthening farm resilience, which I'm all for. I really think that's a good thing. I totally talk to everybody about regenerative gardening. So this is definitely right up my alley. This is where I first learned about it, was in regenerative, not from the presidential order, but so let's just talk through it a bit because I've got a few little comments here and there. So the first part of it is that the USDA has to expand their regenerative ag pilot program, which I think is amazing. Please do that. That's also like mandating creation of public and private partnerships. Essentially, they're saying, like, let's get farmers as much access to this as possible. I don't know if you're aware, but farmers have a super tough time. They're usually really budget strapped. Not every farmer, but a lot of them, because they have almost no control. But there's still a few that do really well, right? But we want them all to do really well, and we want the smaller ones, not just the big corporate ones. Okay, so the next part of it is the biofuel feedstock, which is all of the biofuels. So all of your corn and the soybeans and canola. So what they're trying to do is kind of what happened with organic, where they wanted to be able to put the label on it and give the farmers credit for growing in that particular way. That's what that piece is about. But to do that, they have to put in, let me just explain a little bit more. They have to put in all these ways that they can actually like measure it, and what are the criteria for measuring it, and making sure that people aren't just making crap up. Because whenever these programs come along, there's always somebody that's going to try and game the system. And so there has to be people that verify it. Now, on the flip side of that, that means that a whole bunch of people are going to become these verifiers. They're going to be certified by the EPA to be able to verify that. So kind of on the back side of this, people are making money, and the farmers will probably have to pay these people to come and verify their crop. So is that good, bad? I don't know. It just really depends on how it all plays out. When it was like just a number of other things like the sustainability, when you had all of your other fuels driven stuff like RINs and all of that, everything has to be verified, which then creates a whole market for people that would need to be able to do this verification. And I get it. At the same time, now these people are going to have to pay for that. I don't know. I feel like I just went in circles. So let's move on. The EPA crop protection. Now, this is to expedite registration of other pesticides. Alternative is how they're wording it. The EPA already has a way, like a system for vetting new chemicals, and that's the TSCA system. It's the same system when it was originally created. It basically depended on companies raising their hand, and because of that, we have all sorts of chemicals that ran rampant and are causing problems. So, I'm assuming we're going to see stuff like that in this. Hopefully not, but TSCA, I call it TSCA because I have to do that kind of reporting, but it's TSCA. That's like the Toxic Substances Control Act. And so every 4 years, companies that have anything to do with chemicals are having to report. So, but if you have a new chemical, you have to register it and put it through their hoops, essentially. FIFRA, I call it FIFRA, it's FIFRA, is the acronym. And gosh, I can't remember what it all stands for, sorry. But that's for like your pesticides. So all of the stuff that they spray on your crops, don't just think like the stuff that kills bugs. It's all of that. It's all of it. So that all falls under FIFRA, and that essentially tries to protect people from getting sick from it. So if you are exposed and you get sick, then you're supposed to report it and all of that stuff. It's also the regulation that says only use it however it says on the label. I know, boring stuff, but this regulatory life is what I do for a living. So the next point that I think, and this part, the EPA crop protection, I think is like amazing. It's really big news in my opinion. It requires review of all that pre-harvest desiccation that they use chemicals basically to kill off the plants before they harvest them because it makes it easier to harvest. Well, okay, but if we control how much they put on just to be able to grow it, and then they still have to kill it before they can harvest it, that's additional chemicals that don't necessarily get cleaned off. I really apologize for all of this glare that's happening like right in the middle. I can't figure out how to get rid of it. It's mostly just because my glasses are super reflective. I have to figure that out, but you're going to have to deal with it. So yeah, when I've had friends, I haven't tested this out myself. I have a friend, I should put it that way, that thought he had a gluten intolerance, and then his wife, they got organic, the wheat berries, and she milled them herself and made bread from that, and he didn't have a problem. So it's really about what goes in between, right? What's happening, and I believe this desiccation is one of those things. So there's things like sweet potatoes that they put on there to keep them from sprouting. Because if you just leave a sweet potato laying on the counter, it'll sprout right there. I literally have one that I grew last year, and I harvested in the fall, and it's sitting on my counter and it's sprouted. It's just sprouting. It's not in water. It's not doing anything, and it's just sprouting on its own. So they have to put something on it. Have to. I don't know that they have to, but I guess they have to because they'll sit around for so long before they get actually like sold to people. But in the meantime, that's a chemical that we're putting in our body when we go to eat it, which is not good. So this is a really good point that's happening there. Now, what is this? The fourth part of it. This is the Food Safety and Health Research, where they told the USDA, Human Health Services, HHS, and the EPA to finally study, in my opinion, the cumulative effect of exposure for the chemicals that are on our food supply. So for a long time, it's been you only had to worry about whatever you produced. And nobody wanted to pay the extra to go, okay, well, if I make this corn and it's GMO or I've sprayed whatever on it, then, they test that and they go, okay, it's safe. But they're only testing the corn. They don't take into account that maybe you're having corn and rice and chicken and whatever else with it. And all of those things have stuff on them, then you've really got a problem. Maybe, right? That's what they're supposed to be researching, this cumulative effect, and not just a one meal. You've got to figure this is happening for every meal, and it's happening over a wide variety of products. So the more that they can test and see, is it different combinations making different things in our bodies, different combinations that are cumulatively making things worse in our bodies, for the environment, for animals, what's going on. So this is finally forcing somebody, and who knows how this will play out, to actually do some research on that. That was when the whole GMO thing exploded, I don't know how many years ago. Great, you've tested it on 5 things, and it came out safe, supposedly safe, but that doesn't mean that cumulatively, either over time or with other things, that it's still safe. It didn't test that. none of that was required. So, we think we're eating safe foods, but I don't agree that we are. That's my opinion. I was hearing something the other day where they were talking about that there's a famine coming because of all the problems like with the weather and switching over to regenerative ag and all of that stuff. It's going to take a minute, and it'll probably disrupt the way that people are growing right now. And my comment to that was, I think we're already in like a healthy foods, not even health foods, just not toxic food famine. We're in a famine already. How hard is it for just the normal everyday person to go and get healthier food? So again, this is why I push for as many people as possible to grow their own food. Grow your own food. Get food going. It doesn't have to be replace everything. You don't have to go and be a homesteader, but get some options going on. And to grow something, like if I plant tomatoes today, that doesn't mean there's going to be tomatoes tomorrow, right? First, they have to be successful. And I'll tell you, when I first learned how to grow stuff, it wasn't always successful. So the learning how to grow things process, you've got to go through all that like trial and error, and hopefully learning from somebody that can show you and go to classes or something. And then like it still takes weeks, right? Months sometimes, depending on what you're growing. Like onions and garlic is like a 5 or 6 month process. It's not to put it in the ground and it's ready for you next month or next week. If you get started now, then you can start that learning curve and you can do better for yourself in the future and start replacing some of the things that either are too chemical heavy and bad for your body because of all the stuff that they put on it to grow it, or because, maybe there is an actual like famine or shortage coming. I don't know. I'm not here to spread like doomsday like that. I just want to protect people and like encourage you to make a better option for yourself. All right. Well, I know I rambled, but I hope it was helpful. And let me know in the comments what you think about all this going on. Thanks.